Shelley Winter Show, live, local, topical, and relevant. We're in the studio with Hamilton Holmes Jr., a family of history makers, change agents in this country. And, like I chastised myself, Hamilton, earlier in the show. I haven't done anything around Black History Month all month. And it's funny because I'm quick to make that I have to work as the only African-American on air here, that I have to work on Martin Luther King Day, I have to work on Juneteenth. I make those jokes all the time. Yet when it comes time for me to really be the only black guy on the radio, I haven't done anything for Black History Month. So I appreciate you coming into the studio. We talked about your grandfather, Alfred Tupp Holmes, integrating golf, and that case being used as a precedent to do other cases around the country, centered not necessarily around integration, but really I'm hearing from you, the gist of the argument was public tax monies that you take from African Americans, you were spending in other places where they couldn't utilize those services that they were paying for. And I think that's a very important lesson for us all. Now let's talk about your dad, Hamilton Holmes.
Okay. So my father graduated from high school here in Atlanta in 1959, and he and Charlene Hunter were a couple of top students in the class. So my father was valedictorian. Charlene was third in the class.
Oh, what high school?
Of Henry McNeil Turner High School.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, here in Atlanta, one of the top black high schools back then. And they both wanted to pursue higher education. Again, brilliant students. My father wanted to be a doctor. Charlene wanted to be a journalist. And back at that time, they felt that the University of Georgia provided the best opportunity for them to receive the training they needed to pursue their career interests. So they applied to the University of Georgia, were denied admission, tried several times, and continued to be denied for different reasons. However, they certainly felt like they were well qualified to be there, and had the support of some other black business leaders, such as Jesse Hill here in Atlanta, that ran the Atlanta Life Insurance Company, for a long time, and some other businesses. So they also filed a lawsuit and had a brilliant legal team. Some people here in Atlanta may know that Bankhead Highway has the name Donald Hollowell. So right. Donald Hollowell was their lead attorney.
Okay.
But they had people like Vernon Jordan out of New York, Constance Baker Motley. They had Thurgood Marshall as a part of their team, and a gentleman named Horace Ward that had applied to the University of Georgia Law School in 1950. So during the year and a half while the case worked its way through the legal system, my father went to Morehouse College here in Atlanta, and Charlene Hunter went to Wayne State University, which is kind of like Georgia State.
Okay.
But she was in Detroit for school. And so they started as second semester sophomores in 1961 at the University of Georgia.
And so what was the argument by the legal team? Was it a financial, monetary, tax dollar argument like the golf, or what was their main argument?
Well, it was a little bit of both. And I think that was more of, let's integrate the flagship university here in Georgia as well. So that was part of it. Certainly, again, their tax dollars were supporting the public universities.
Right.
So that was a part of their legal argument. But a large part of that, though, also was that all students should have the opportunity to go to the University of Georgia or Georgia Tech or Georgia State or other public schools in the state.
Right.
And
public being the distinction, because a private school you have to be accepted.
Well, you have to be accepted, and their rules are different.
Gotcha.
They're not supported by public tax dollars. Right. Certainly. So it wasn't easy. As a student, so my father had kind of a tough time there. Had to live off campus because they were kind of afraid for him to live on campus just because of the environment. And he had people that would curse at him every day or throw rocks at him, that kind of thing. One thing that stuck with me, Shelley, that I always remember, my father told me he never made one friend while he was on campus.
That's amazing.
For 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's crazy because that's where you make your lifelong friends in college.
Lifelong friend, absolutely.
Right.
And I benefited from him going there. So he started in 1961, and I went to University of Georgia myself as a student in 1986. So just 25 short years later, I was able to go there and graduate myself.
Right.
And I don't know if you even know this or not, but my father also was the first black medical student at Emory University.
Oh, wow.
In 1963, and graduated from there in 67, became an orthopedic surgeon, and had a good distinguished career and worked at Emory University, was the medical director at Grady Hospital, and also had private practice for a while as well before he passed at 54 in 1995.
Wow. That's amazing. Your granddad passed at 50, your father passed at 54. Question, Interesting question. How much do you think these fights that they waged led to those early deaths?
I don't really think that was part of it in their
Okay.
particular situations. They both, I guess, technically had some medical issues.
Okay. Okay.
That kind of contributed to their passing. But I do think about that sometimes, and I'm past that now. I mean, I don't mind saying I'm 58.
Right.
And when I got to 50 and 54, I started getting a little nervous myself.
Right. Right.
To be honest with you. But I think about it like this. So as we all live, we have to think about it's not how long we live necessarily and what we do, but it's what we do with the time that we have.
Absolutely.
So even though they were 50 and 54, they had very impactful lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They could have lived to 90 and done nothing. Tell us about the foundation. We're getting ready to go off air. So tell us about the foundation. Tell us about the event that you guys have coming up.
Absolutely. We started a family foundation a couple of years ago. It's called the Alfred Tup Holmes Legacy Foundation. And we have a website, which is alfredtupholmesfoundation.org. We have two main programs. One of them is the Alfred Tup Holmes Golf Academy, and the other is the Hamilton Holmes STEM Academy. So what we're going to do is help teach kids golf in the city of Atlanta, so they learn the game. We all know it's a great game to play. It teaches you lots of things related to life as well. And we're also going to support STEM activities, which is science, technology, engineering, and math in schools. So I'm a product of the Atlanta public school system. I grew up in Atlanta, so my focus is the city of Atlanta.
Okay.
We do have an event next week.
Absolutely.
We're having a recognition of the 70th anniversary of TUP integrating golf courses back in 1955. It's going to be at the Atlanta History Center on Wednesday of next week. So if you're interested in potentially getting involved, go to our website. Again, it's Alfred Tup Holmes Legacy Foundation. .org.
Alfred Tup Holmes. Holmes is spelled Holmes. Alfred Tup Holmes Legacy Foundation.org. The event is free next Wednesday. From what time to what time?
It's from 6 to 8:30. However, if you are interested in attending, you would need to reach out through the website, or you can call the phone number that's on the website as well.
All right. Alfred Tup Holmes, Holmes, legacyfoundation.org. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an excellent event, historical event. I appreciate you joining me, my brother. And we've never met, so I'm glad I've made a new friend. And I appreciate you coming on the Shelley Winter Show.
Yes, well, thank you for the invitation, and I enjoyed having a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I say it every single night. I'll say it again tonight. Understand this in your heart of hearts, because I know it in my heart of hearts, and I know it to be true. God loves you. Have a wonderful weekend. Peace.